Welcome to lesson 2 of the overview history of China. This is Professor Tefero from Port St. Lucie, and this course is an overview course of China from beginning to today in very general terms, but many specifics are included. And hopefully you'll have a better understanding of how China thinks and China acts in the 21st century. In our lesson 1, we looked over the ancient civilizations of China, which were the Yangshao, people of the rivers and waterways, and the Longshan, who were the people who lived in the mountain areas. This lesson, we're going to concentrate on the history of the philosophical belief system of China and their religions and where they came from and how they got there. To begin, we have to go to India, and we have to examine an ancient text called the Upanishads. The Upanishads had 5 basic elements in them. Samsara, which is reincarnation, and reincarnation is not just necessarily being born again to a new life. It can also be being born again in your current life when you have a radical change in your life. The example I like to give is Alcoholics Anonymous. You pledge never to take a drink again, and for those who are successful, they change their lives completely. They have families and jobs and are successful for the rest of their lives, and they've made a complete change from their earlier life, which was a complete failure and miserable. So basically they reincarnated to a new life in the one they have now. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a new life, a brand new life in being born again. The next aspect of the Upanishads that is familiar to many people is karma. Karma is what you do in life. If you do good things happen to you. If you do bad things happen to you, or at least that's what karma would like us to believe. Now, in many instances this is true, but in some instances people with bad karma get away with a lot of crime, but that's probably in the minority. I think generally speaking you feel better about yourself if you have good karma, and the people around you appreciate you more. Then you have something called Dharma. And Dharma will tell you about the structure of the family. Now, if that sounds familiar, that's where Chinese philosophy comes from. That's where Confucianism and Neo-Confucianism come from. They come directly from the principle of Dharma in the Upanishads, which places responsibility to the family, responsibility to the structure of the community, and these are very strong tenets of Confucianism and are practiced up to this very day. So we're not going to get into any other aspects of the Upanishads. Let's concentrate on Dharma. And when we have Dharma, we have a transference from Indian Hinduism, ancient Hinduism, to Tibet, and then from Tibet to the rest of China, and even as far as Japan with Zen Buddhism. But Buddhism came much later, much later. This came thousands of years earlier, and Dharma came into Tibet and was split into 2 belief systems. The first belief system was the superstitious form of Taoism, where you have thousands of gods and thousands of prayers and different types of ceremonies and good luck charms and bad luck charms. This is very similar to the Hindu pantheon of gods and ceremonies. Thousands and thousands of gods and thousands of superstitions. The other half of ancient Taoism, however, was philosophical Taoism. And this is the one that Buddha hit upon much, much later, thousands of years later, where you had a belief that moderation in all things. You were the center of the wheel. The Indians called it being the center of the wheel. But the Chinese converted that image into being moderate in all things. So these types of monks would go off into the mountains by themselves and get away from society, which they thought was corrupt, and they would practice philosophical Taoism. No gods, no no religious ceremonies, no excuse me, no pamphlets or books on how to do things. It was within yourself. You were the principal ownership of Dharma. You had to find out what was the truth yourself. Where was the truth? The truth is where, not what somebody told you, or not something that you learned. It's something that you have discovered by yourself during your lifetime. And this translated into philosophical Taoism. So now you have the philosophical Taoism, and it splits with Confucianism, and those are the two basic belief systems in China until the much later Buddhist systems came into play. So now you know where the origins of all the belief systems of China came from, and why a lot of Chinese people act the way they do. Superstitious people in China will probably adhere to some of the ancient superstitious Taoism, and some of the more better educated Chinese will probably lean towards the philosophical aspect of Taoism, and yet others, in fact the vast majority of China, adheres to Confucianist principles and the principles of the family first and the government should be respected. And that's where everything comes from as far as the belief systems of China. Until next time, this is Professor Tefero from Port St. Lucie, wishing you all a happy and healthy day. Take care.